You know the generation nobody talks about? Not boomers, not millennials. Not Gen Z, the ones right in the middle. Generation X, born 1965 to 1980. They built the internet. They raised your favorite millennials. And they did all of it quietly. Here's the real question. Why are they like that? The answer goes deeper than you think. It's 1979, you're 9 years old. You get home from school, pull a key from under the doormat and walk into a completely silent house. No parent, no text saying be home by 6. Nothing, just you, the hum of the refrigerator, and 3 hours until anyone showed up. This wasn't rare. By 1984, over 7 million American kids were regularly coming home to empty houses. Researchers called them latchkey kids. But what they were really becoming was something else entirely. Self-sufficient before they had any choice in the matter. Here's where it gets psychological. When you grow up in an environment where no one is watching, no one is mediating, your brain rewires itself. You make a decision, you live with the result. Immediately, no buffer, no appeal process. Gen X didn't develop thick skin, they developed thick wiring. They learned to think 3 steps ahead because nobody was going to catch them if they fell. While everyone else is still asking, what should I do? Gen X has already done it. Gen X watched something that left a permanent mark. Their parents' generation, the ones who preached work hard, stay loyal, and you'll be taken care of, got crushed. Divorce rates exploded. Corporate downsizing wiped out careers. The promises fell apart in real time. So Gen X did something logical. They stopped believing the promises. Psychologists call it defensive pessimism. Gen X calls it being realistic. It's not cynicism, it's armor. Expect the worst, and when the worst comes, when it usually does, you're already ready. Here's something that surprises people. Gen X understands social media. They built the infrastructure it runs on, but they don't trust it. Because they grew up in a world where privacy was protection. When you messed up as a kid, maybe 5 people knew. It faded, you moved on. The idea of broadcasting your life, your opinions, your feelings to strangers, that doesn't feel like connection to Gen X. That feels like exposure. And exposure, in their experience, leads to getting hurt. Nobody talks about how Gen X actually developed their work ethic. Paper routes at 5 in the morning, grocery store cashier at 14, calculating change in their head when the register broke. These weren't internships, they were survival. And because they watched their parents get destroyed by corporate loyalty, they made a different bet. Not loyalty to a company, loyalty to their own competence. They can't control the layoffs, but they can make sure they're the hardest person to let go. That's why your Gen X coworker doesn't complain, doesn't self-promote, just executes. Here's the strangest part of all this. Gen X is the most self-reliant generation alive, and one of the most quietly loyal. They'll never ask for help. Been figuring things out alone since they were 8 years old. But if you need help, they show up. No announcement, no social media post about it. Just there. They respect skill over titles. Zero patience for someone who got the job through politics. They question authority not because it's trendy, but because they watched authority fail, repeatedly publicly, their entire childhood. The dot-com crash, the 2008 financial collapse. They didn't just live through these, they expected them. That's why they have multiple income streams. Not because they're entrepreneurial by nature, but because they've learned that nothing lasts. Generation X might be the last generation that knows what it's like to be genuinely alone with their thoughts. No algorithm to fill the silence, no content to scroll, just time and whatever you did with it. They're not perfect. They struggle to ask for help even when they should. They sometimes mistake independence for emotional distance. But here's what they got right. They move without applause, they build without announcing it. They hold things together without asking for credit. They're the bridge generation. And bridges don't get attention. They just do their job, quietly, reliably, every single day. That's Gen X. And honestly, that might be the most underrated thing in the world right now. If this made you think differently about someone in your life, share this video, subscribe for more psychology breakdowns like this, and drop a comment. Are you Gen X or did this remind you of someone?